Good morning, you guys.
Good
morning to you. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well today.
I believe you are.
You believe they are?
They are.
They are. They are.
They are.
Okay. We are the Sawyers, and this is Cornerstone. Of course, you know that by now. I'm pretty sure you know that by now. By now, you know that. But we are here for another great conversation today. I hope you're doing well this Sunday morning.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had a pretty good morning this morning, haven't we?
Yeah, everything's been kind of copacetic.
Been good. Let us know if you can hear us and see us, guys.
A little copacetic.
Yeah, do I have my glasses? Yeah, I got my glasses. Let's see who's here. My glasses are dirty this morning. Let's see who's here. Let's see who's. I know who was first because I saw him come in. My sissy and my brother-in-law. I saw him coming in. Hey, y'all. And there's Kim. She came in. And there's Sandra. Hey, sweetheart. Hey, Vern.
Liberty Vern.
And then there's
Sylvia.
I never call her Sylvia. That's Dee Dee and George.
Yeah.
And there's Pastor Norman. Good morning, Pastor.
Oh, Sylvia Lefty. That's what I would call her.
Yeah, you call her Lefty.
Yeah.
And Pastor Norman's here. And then CJ, have you moved yet? Let us know if you've moved yet, CJ.
That young man, Jay Hickman.
That's the bodybuilder.
CJ's
the bodybuilder.
Yeah, oh yeah. But this other guy for him up there.
John Grease is in the house.
Grease and J. Edward. That's what it is.
And Brother Blue and his family.
Brother
Blue.
Junior.
There's Deb Rondo. I hope you had a safe trip.
Yeah, I just think about you, girl. You rolling now. Turning them wheels
She's
square.
been going back home quite a bit lately.
Yeah.
Yeah. Putting some miles on that.
Wish I could ride with you, girl, but that's too far. I can't.
Hey, Sinette in Denmark. She said
Sinette.
It's sunny in Denmark. It's kind of sunny here.
Yeah.
But the weather's not bad. It was really, really nice last week, like springtime, and now it's kind of gotten a little colder, but it's not cold. I didn't even have to wear gloves this morning or a hat. So when I went for our walk this morning. And good morning, Leslie.
Leslie,
good morning to you and Dad.
Yeah, I appreciate the gift you sent.
Thank you for the gift, Leslie.
It's surprised. It surprised us. I wasn't looking for that, but God has a way.
Yeah. And there's Jill. Hey, Jill. Good morning to you.
Jill Jr.
And Deaquilin. I'm glad you're here, sweetie.
There she is.
Yeah.
Deaquilin.
Thank you, Pastor Norm. He said he could hear us. Edith, I'm glad you're here, sweetheart.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for letting us know you can hear and see us. Good morning, Sister Chris. Thank you for the card for baby girl.
That was sweet.
Yeah, she sent a get well card to baby girl. Isn't that something with a little bit of gift money inside of it?
Yeah.
Baby girl's doing better, isn't she?
Yeah.
We've got her scheduled for dental work, getting her dental cleaning in a few weeks.
Oh, that's expensive, ain't
it? Her blood work came back all normal, so she's good. She's good for now.
Who's that little brown? There?
Kayla. Hey, sweetie.
That's Kayla.
Yes, Kayla.
Oh, gosh.
Yes. Yeah. Tell your mom hello, sweetheart. There's Bud Kessler and Sadie. Kayla. All right, we're here. We're here now, right? We're here. All right. Yeah, that's Kayla.
Lord have mercy on your soul, girl. Lord
I know. Jesus. It's good to have her here with us today.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I'll get all my stuff together here. Let's see. Let's do an affirmation. Let's do something. And center in. You guys may be more centered in than me because I've been running around and doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I want you to remember when we talk about being your true self and Yes, she says she wants to sit down and talk to us. Yeah, I'm glad you. Yeah,
Well, that would be
we
good.
do that, sweetheart. We certainly can. We certainly can. Hey, Sharon. Good morning to you, darling, and
Sharon.
Sandra. Good morning,
Oh,
Sandra.
Sharon, I was just thinking about you, girl. I can
So,
see myself talking to you.
so let's do our affirmation, meditation, prayer, whatever you want to call it. Let's center ourselves in and find ourselves outside of the mind and outside of our feelings, even. And let's just go inward. Let's go inward. And of course, this particular meditation is about our embodiment of that we are, not just knowing it as a concept, but living it and how we live it. So I want you to take a deep breath in, if you will, and let it out. And let all tension, all concerns, anything you may be thinking about doing today, anything that you did yesterday or last night, even right now, what you think may happen in this session, just put it aside for the moment. And you can repeat after me, or you can simply just listen if you want. And this is called embodying the light. From this place of calm, I see my God self. I see a new image of myself in the world. My focus is on the God essence within me, and I follow its guidance. I have learned to trust myself. The self that I am is strong, courageous, and wise. I carry this sense of knowing with me into the world. Because I trust and focus on the God self within, I am creating on the outside a world that is harmonious and beneficial to myself and others. I am having deeper relationships. I'm learning how to deal with people. I am managing my money, allowing and attracting my good to manifest. I'm building a career that serves others. I'm taking good care of my body and everything else around me. I'm able to be in the world and enjoy myself. Yet keep my commitment to the God essence within. This commitment is reflected in the light and power that I feel. I am the light of the world. And so it is. And so it is. Good morning to you, Pearl. Good morning. I'm glad you came in, sweetheart. And Pat,
Good
glad
to
you
see
guys
you.
came in. David Singleton, good to have you with us this morning. All right, we're here and we were just discussing just before we went live read a couple of my notes, and I asked Pastor what he had on his plate this morning, because we never collaborate. Very seldom do we collaborate about what we're going to talk about when we come on these live streams. But I was thinking about the sacred contract, our sacred contracts, how all of us have a sacred contract that we pre-collaborated with God before coming to earth. And it has inside of it soul contracts with other people. It has inside of it objectives like what's needed for us to master in our lives. It has options to exercise our will, our either or choices. It has benefits of emotional blessings and conditional blessings, I should say, based on our choices. It has that. It has demarcations or requirements and responsibilities in it. All of that's in our contract. It has expiration dates in it, time frames to exercise certain options, allotted times, and all of that for certain things to take place or for certain things to continue. It has penalties, consequences of our choices, of our decisions, or karmic debt. It has all that in it. It has in its subcontracts that, like I said, soul contracts with other people, which could be based on our karmic destiny or karmic propensity that we had before we were in other previous lifetimes that we were together, or it could be a team contract, soul contract, where we all have the same mission and we have to accomplish it together. Or it could be soulmates, like Pastor and myself. We're twin flames, where we have a mission together that we have to fulfill and that we do fulfill. And then we're also not in competition, but we have the privilege of helping one another to evolve. So there are a lot of things in your contract that that we haven't really thought about. We've talked about it just a little bit, but when we have a soul contract, I was just saying to him before we went live that whenever we have intuition come up or arise in us, or I should say guidance, that is the recall of details of your contract.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in this contract, metaphorically speaking, you may see or not see on the other side, but what we've investigated into is we went into what is called the extended. That's another word for insurance. It's something that has to do with something that was overlooked when we got here, and it was a deliberate it was a deliberate act that certain parts of the contract is not to be discovered until a certain section of this dream world came to a point where it was necessary for you to have this manifested. Okay. Now, when I look at this, I'll be honest with you, I had to go through everything that ever happened to us, casting out demons, healing, miracles, and signs, and all that stuff. And when you tell people that are in the box or at the cross at the foot, when you tell them that there is an event that took place for all of us, whether we know Christ in this time or we knew him in another time. See, a lot of people don't understand that in evolution don't mean you come back as a tree or a dog or a cat. It means that you are continuously turning, moving, exchanging, and moving and exchanging. And the life that you are has never stopped, and it cannot turn left or right, this life that you are does not have to be corrected. But there's some part of us that has to be corrected, which is a part of our contracts. Now, these things have been put into our heart. Jesus said something like this: all things that the Father hath are mine, therefore said I. Therefore said I, the real I. I. When you're talking to somebody and they say I am, you need to be able to see where that statement came from. Now, he said this: I, that he shall take of mine and shall show it unto you, the Father. A little while ye shall not see me, and again a little while ye shall see me, because I go unto the Father. Here's the mystical side of this. 50 years we looked at this, and now it unravels itself because it is the season. Jesus, when he said, I go to the Father, it is no different than you saying within yourself, I need to go pray about this, or I need to go pray or seek God, which after a while, that part of you will atrophy itself.
You'll grow past it.
You grow past it. Okay, here we go. He said, because I go to the Father. Now, when he went to the Father, I do it all the time. A lady asked me, said, you've been to heaven? I said, yeah. I said, you just came from there. I said, that's where we all come from. But the heaven I'm talking about is the same one you're talking about. I just see it in a different place. And that place is you. Now, I'm not talking about the ugly monkey and all that old nasty stuff you went through and all that, and the Christianity doctrines and all that. I'm talking about the you that has never, ever been scarred or touched. But one time in this world, 2023 years ago, Galatians 2:20 said that all of us, not just the secular or those that seem to be somewhat among us, personal Jesus, personal Savior, almost give off the attitude or the sound from their voice that God picked me and didn't pick nobody else, so I have a special thing with him. That's not true. But all of us in our true pure self, along with the dirty self, was nailed to the cross. And those marks are to be noted. I mean, there are some people that I've been around, and over the years, they can preach, they can prophesy, they can lay hands and do the miraculous. But they don't mess with this thing of co-identity with the Christ that they speak about. They don't see the co-identity with his name. Matter of fact, they don't even see co-identity with their family unless something comes up. It should not be something has to happen for me to see what I'm talking about, or to see. It took, I just waited for this, and then at such a time, then it happened. I said, what took so long? It wasn't that it wasn't there.
Right.
You had a contract, and what is most important about the contract is that you can't pull it out. People say the Bible is a contract, the course is a contract. That is a part of it. But listen to this. The real portion of the contract is what you made out of in your pure self and your infinite self. The contract is your beingness. The contract is in that part of you that can never die.
Well, the contract is written on our hearts.
Thank you very much.
Written
That's
on
it.
our minds. And there's scripture for that in Hebrews where it talks about the laws of God are written in our hearts and in our minds. So we don't, it's not separate and apart from us. It is a part of us. That contract is. And Jesus said in the book of Mark that certain things had to happen for the scriptures to be fulfilled. And he was particularly talking about his personal script. And that script had to have certain things happen in order for it to be fulfilled. And that's why he didn't get angry with Judas, because Judas was a part of the contract. Judas had collaborated and agreed to play that role for him as a betrayer. And that is why Jesus didn't get upset with him.
Okay. Here's another of the mysteries. Jesus made a statement and said in the book, if it's true, he said this. He said, the day will come when ye shall ask the Father in my name. And I say not unto you that I will pray the Father for you. What he's saying is, there's some you pray for and some you point to. Enlightenment and waking up to your true self should not barricade you into a prison, whether it's the King James Version or the Mary Lou Ellen version. I don't care which version it is. There comes a place in your mature seeing, I say it like that, which is the grace of God. There's a place in this thing where you come to where you do not continue to seek God the way you did when you first started out. Actually, when I say a lot of the people that we're talking to, I think that you should have gone through some of the things that happened in the denominationalism in church and find out how not to allow the ego to use it as an asset for evil and separation from us. We got 2 or 3 churches on the same corner, and each one of them won't even have anything to do with each other because they feel like they got the corner. That is the ego. That's what we call the devil. That's what that is.
Right.
But in actuality, when you go in a door down the street and I go in a door up the street, that same essence is in both of us doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And what makes the difference is when we came supposedly projected in the story to this dream world right here on earth, everybody's contract was to come here and based on the many lifetimes of evolution in Christ before the foundation of the world, everybody that come here agreed to the contract for everything to take place in our walk in this life.
It does, right, it does. Yes.
Now,
I want you to read Galatians 2:20 just for the sake of those who may not have ever heard it, and I'm just saying that because of the comment that Sinette just made,
she did.
Which is not an error. It's just what she's seeing at this moment. But I wanted Galatians 2:20.
Yeah.
We can quote it rather than read it if you want to. And it simply says, and Paul wrote, I am crucified with Christ. Nevertheless, I live. Yet not I, but Christ lives. And the life that I now live, I live by the faith of the Son of God who loved and gave himself for me. So this is where pastor's coming from. We have co-identification with Christ.
Okay.
And so you got it. Just go ahead and read. I quoted it, but go ahead. I may not quote it exactly.
In the 20th verse of the second. Another thing I want to tell you. I only do this flipping these pages, ink and paper, as a demonstration of something that we just a habit, I guess, condition.
It's a foundation.
Yeah, foundation. But
it's just
listen
a
foundation. To this. You will eventually come to the place where that false sense of responsibility to study and read under the taskmaster conditions that I must do if I don't do kind of thing. That should be a walk, the free walk of God in your form, to where you do not have to go back to anything to prove anything outside of producing. I heard a preacher named Mars Cerullo said, proof producers. We want to take the book, carry it around with us, any book, and read it out to people, But here's the metaphor. If you had been and you were with Jesus, standing there in front of him 2023 years, whatever it was, and zip him open, you would see not anything in him outside of everything you read in this book or any other book. Mm-hmm. But it would be presented to you in a way of knowing that a book on paper can't give you.
Right.
Now,
right.
let's go on.
Go ahead and read it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I am crucified with Christ, nevertheless I live.
Yet not I.
Yep. There's so many eyes I count to. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 6 eyes in there. Okay.
I'm crucified with Christ,
yet not I, but Christ liveth in me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And the life
which I now live. This right now. He's talking about the life that's in this body, that's living, that's you're not living, but is life.
Yes. The life that I now live.
The life that I now live in the flesh, I live
by the faith of not in of the Son
of God, who loved me and gave himself for me.
That little word "of" gives it a whole different context, because when you say faith in Jesus Christ, I'm believing in him. But when by the faith of, I'm living by his faith. Mm-hmm. That means every attributes that I exhibit that is godly is Christ. Mm-hmm. It is Christ. Mm-hmm. And so it is not me, the me that I think I am that's living, but it is the Christ that's living. Go ahead. I got to find something right quick. Yeah, I got to find something.
When you swing the doors open, you're going to understand the course and what course you've been on that you never left. Mm-hmm. Seeing is one of the most powerful agents you can operate with. Seeing, I'm not talking about seeing visions and angels and all that. I'm talking about seeing insight. Mm-hmm. This thing that we're saying to you and that others are saying can be said in so many different ways and different words. But I feel and sense inside of me down through the solar plex area, I have no desire to want to prove anything to anybody. And I'm reading this out of the book. Seems like I'm proving it there. But look, honey, I can push it to the side, push it to the side and sit at the table and eat and never raise my hand with a spoon in it to feed my body. But since I am in this dimension of sleep, do you know that when you wake up to your true identity, that everybody you meet is affected by it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We are light beings in a dark story, seeing God playing all the parts. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And if we see God playing all the parts, then we are seeing ourselves, our true self, playing every part in the movie.
Okay.
God, I tell you, this thing is something. It is awesome.
Yes, it is. It is.
Years ago, when we started out in pastoring and traveling, evangelizing, all that kind of stuff, we wouldn't dare say to them what we're saying to you guys now. Once in a while, we'll bring it in, co-identity with Jesus, going to the cross and all that. No, he didn't have to do that, but that's old song said he didn't have to do it, but he did, but he did. Mm-hmm. Now, when we say he didn't have to do it, but he did, that was us. Okay. That was us. Okay. What I've done and have seen, and it just right, it's just what the doctor ordered. Anything in these books and these papers can come nowhere close to describing the indescribable pure self that we are in this, and quote, baby suit, teenage suit, young man suit, middle-aged suit, and then we go back to the old folks suit, and then we go back to the what do you call the older one. They get to be you know not handicapped, but you know
Elderly,
elderly and
seniors.
senior. Yeah, we this senior suit.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
you are listen to this. You are the awakeness of God. Christ waking up.
Mhm.
Christ deliberately blocked his memory out. Let me tell you something real good. I just in 11th chapter of John, I saw this morning.
Okay. I'm trying to follow you.
Yeah, you
now.
stay with me. I'm
Don't-
talking about the
I'm
mystery
talking about a
side
lot of
of
things.
God being us and others.
Yeah.
Okay. When I looked at Lazarus in 11th chapter of John, it said Jesus stayed a while on somewhere else after he was told that his
4
friend.
days.
Yeah. Now listen to this. When you read this, I never did see it to today. Jesus told them that he was the stuff that they were looking for to bring the brother out of the grave.
Yeah. I am the resurrection. Yeah.
And Jesus often talked about the Father and him separated, but it also come back as one. Okay, here we go. Just imagine you right there at the tomb with Jesus. As a matter of fact, you're not only with him, you're in him. And Lazarus been buried. He'd been buried put away. Now he stayed in there 4 days, so his body was into rigor mortis.
Deteriorating.
Yeah, deteriorating. So anyway, as Lazarus was there, Jesus went to the tomb, not to pray for everybody around it, not to affirm, not to lay hands, not to read a script, not to Hail Mary sayings or Sister Lou said. He went there knowing, one, who he was, two, who Lazarus was, and three, where he was, and I'm going through all the other was.
Yeah.
But here's my point. My Lord speaketh unto my Lord. Lazarus' death was meant to be because Jesus made a statement that he was asleep.
It was a part of Jesus's
contract
and Lazarus'
contract.
Yes.
What happened to these books and things that we read with all those sacred truths in them? That's the contract that's in us.
And remember, there was the other person who was blind. He said, "This is the reason this person is blind is for the glory of God."
Okay.
To be with
okay.
Him. And so it's not so much that everybody's blind because that's what they're blind, why they're blind. But for that particular reason, that was what that was for. It was part of his contract.
Let's just say that when Jesus got to the tomb, he already knew what was going to take place.
Yes, he did. But like I said last Sunday, the resurrection cried.
Yes, my God.
The resurrection.
Now that'll bake your cake, that girl.
And groaned.
Ooh, look at
because
you.
Of a burden.
And he said in the 11th day, he groaned in his spirit. He did this. Here's what he did. He said, with groan, he said,
He groaned because of the burden.
Like a lion or a cat purring.
Yeah. But it was a real burden. It was a real burden. He wasn't practicing.
No.
Groaning.
I knew
he was groaning because he was actually burdened. Yeah.
I knew of a preacher that I studied and saw him and talked to him, and I finally saw him in person. He had a healing revelatory ministry, and I went to one or two of his services, but I finally met him in person. And I noticed that when he would be ministering, he would be he groaning. That means this: I am pregnant, enlarged in the womb of God to reproduce and bring something forward into this finite world that is so strong that it becomes a weakness because I'm going to break it down through groaning. You are breaking down millions and millions of fortresses that have been built up in the ego self. The ego is a lie, and swore that it was nobody, no way whatsoever could Superman you break it down. But Jesus went into the mystical side of himself, and that's who I'm talking to on this site. The mystical side of him had something to say about this thing. And let me tell you something else. God has already said everything that needs to be said about every one of our situations on this site. And there's more inside of us to be said, but it's not going to always be done with English, Latin, or foreign languages. But there is a language that God speaks inside of you, and it cannot be manifest except through a grunt.
Yes. Yes.
Groaning and travailing. And let me tell you something else. Now, this is a mystery. I don't mean just going around grunting all day long. Here it is. Groaning and grunt means this in the mystical side. There's not anybody can come in this world and not be subject to vanity unwillingly. You have been made subject to groaning and pain and hurt, and it was not based on something after you were born. It was based on something before you were born into this body. So these painful situations, and inside, every time I talk like this, a part of me gets scared, because I'm finding out, I'm shaking something up on the inside that's come to the outside in consciousness and always have been outside. But these groanings and this pain that you've been dealing with, and I don't care how big or how small, John, I don't care how big it is, you are burdened. And that groaning is going to fulfill itself, either you being miraculously healed here, later, I don't care how it comes, but your groaning is going to pour from the heart of God inside of you and everybody else and bring to pass that very manifested answer. And one day you'll be standing around and you look and you see it so clear, you say, come hell or high water, I'm free. Come hell or high water, I can swim. Come hell or high water, I cannot drown. I am completely satisfied. Now, you may not, and please, when you find this out, don't go around and tell everybody that you don't find out who you are, because if you do, you won't create another burden. You got all you can carry already.
I want to read a scripture, if I can.
Yeah, go ahead, baby.
It's in St. John 19, and with Jesus, 19 and verses 10 and 11. And Jesus said this, no, Pilate said this, Pilate said unto him, speak thou not unto me, speakest thou not unto me, knowest thou not, all these King James words, don't you know that I have power to crucify you? That's what he was saying. And I have power to release you. And Jesus answered him, saying, you could have no power at all against me, except it were given thee from above. In other words, it's not in my contract. If it's not in my contract, you can't take anything from me, and you can't do anything to me. He said, therefore, he that delivers me unto thee has the greater sin. So Jesus knew his contract, that if these things were going to happen, they were going to happen because they were written in his contract. And it was a fulfillment of his script. Okay. So everything in your life has purpose. Everything has purpose. It is for a particular reason, and it is the fulfilling of a script.
Okay. Inside of the suit, if it's true, body, spirit, we've always been. It was not necessary for that to take place. Let's say it like this. What if what took place in crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus, what if I would say that was really a story? And that story was projected into our minds one day, and something in our head believed that it really happened. Let's just say
Okay.
Now, somebody out there, maybe you hear this. Somebody called us one time and said, "Will you take my name off your list?" You know what? There's a way to do everything, but I promise you that everything that we're talking about, and you're saying to us, somebody is catching on in this site this morning. So though it seems like it's in vain. Okay, I don't know where that come from. He's told me to say this to you, to all of you.
Okay.
I was sitting in the hall. I don't know why. Now, please don't go off on this, but I saw a Hershey with almond candy bar. Now, watch this. Watch this.
I'm listening. I'm listening.
Now, Pastor Norman, I just saw Jesus got together in the council chamber with every entrepreneur here in this earth realm.
Mm-hmm.
And he is 24/7 holding a conference with him. Mr. Hershey, the man that invented Krispy Kreme, any R.J. Reynolds, any hang big outfit in the city you live in.
Yeah.
He's having a meeting with them. And before the world came, he said, "You're going to go down there, or you're going to be in that story, and you're going to invent this." And he put it inside of all of us. This creativeness that I'm talking about should not be something unusual. It is God. I look at the America Got Talent and all those singers on there, and them little people, little babies singing.
Mm-hmm.
What else could that be other than God? A long time ago, I used to think it was the devil using these children to keep them away from God. But when oh my God, Sinead, I'm telling you, I saw it. I saw God, and you know what? I didn't want to. Used to be a time I wanted to just see him in church when we shouting and having a good time, but now I want to see him in everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now the contracts are laid before us, and we're out here in this world. And Jesus said Lazarus was not dead; he was asleep.
Mm-hmm.
When Lazarus came out of the tomb, he was wrapped up in grave clothes, so how did he walk? He couldn't.
Yeah.
He was wrapped and couldn't walk, but he was levitated out to the entrance. And that's the reason why Jesus said, "Loose the man and let him go free."
Yeah.
That means a supernatural event took place deliberately 4 days, and deliberately him wrapped up in there.
Deliberate delay.
Thank you very much. A divine,
deliberate
infinite delay.
And you know that speaks volumes.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us have had prayers that we've been waiting for manifestation of what we believe God for, and there's been delay.
Yeah.
But we've never looked at the delay as being divine.
Yeah. There's a man that lives in Pittsburgh who is flat on his back and cannot move except for somebody to help him. This man in Pittsburgh has, by the grace of God, released certain finances to us, whether every week, every month, to help us keep going. I talked to him on the phone. I talked to his daughter on the phone. That man that's in the bed is Jesus Christ there. And I know that Jesus Christ in that bed is not going to stay there in the bed. He's going to leave that body behind, the Christ. And this lady's daddy is going to turn around and look at his body at the time. He's going to look at it and say, "Is that me? Do I really look like that?" And then he'll see himself and he'll say, "I'm over here and that's me. That can't be me." Now, let me give you a clue. I'm going to give you a big, big clue to the miracle working power of God. That Galatians 2:20 we read is part of the contracts. Okay. Put on Christ and walk in him. That means this. in the secret of the heart. You cannot be your mama's boy. Jesus said, "Who is my mother and my father?" What he's saying is this: with all due respect, I respect the pastor, honor those that honor to be honored, all that stuff. I know what it means to be respectful to your mom and dad. This fullness of God is the final blow, the death blow to Sawyer, Antoinette, Sandra, Sinette, Jill, Brother Torrance's, and Oliver Blue. The final blow is one day it'll unexpectedly hit you. You haven't studied. I guarantee a lot of us done studied enough that we don't need to study no more, because a lot of stuff we didn't study ain't doing nothing but jamming us up.
Yeah.
Okay. Here it is. You have to become all Him. And that has nothing, let's say, when I say become, that's procrastination. Let's say we have to see
that we are there.
We are that.
That we are.
And no longer do you have to search for it.
And we talked about this on the other day, on a couple of days ago, about when we say you have to see, there is nothing you can do to make yourself see. But but all you can supply is the willingness to see. And even that is grace.
In the Bible, Cain killed Abel.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Think now.
Now, why'd you say that?
Okay, hold on.
Okay, I'm going.
Cain killed Abel. Here he go. They just ain't been too far from the Garden of Gethsemane, where a man was just.
You mean the Garden of Eden?
I'm sorry, I'm not Gethsemane. The Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
But the Garden of Eden and Garden of Gethsemane is the same, but they parallel to each other in time.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But you mean from the original?
From the original, yeah.
Yeah.
And here he was out to kill his brother. Now he don't know that when he get rid of the visible form, that knife or a gun or shotgun can't touch the invisible form, the real him.
Right.
So here we go trying to kill God. Two gods, same God, trying to kill each other. Yeah. Cain killed Abel. Yeah. He can't. And Sinette, you brought that to me. You can't kill what is eternal.
No, you can't.
You can't do it. Yeah. But at the same time, we came into this story as a school. We have to do something with these big, large ideals that only these inventors, Einstein and all these motivational people that invented things for us. These are creative ideals. The potential to do that, can't nobody do it but God. Now, let's go into this love walk, because we also signed up in our contracts the love walk, the forgiveness walk, the I am walk. Zip open this thing and go ahead and look at it in its fullness, because it is you in the form of Christ that can be the only one that can forgive and release, allow, and let go. You separated from that, it can't. It got a form of forgiveness, a form of love, but it goes and comes. You know what? I didn't know I signed this land over to you. Well, somebody would say, back there when Mama and Granddaddy was alive, they went to the courthouse and changed the ownership of this land on the deed, and didn't nobody know about it. We thought such and such a person in the family was supposed to get it, and here you are with it. Listen to this. The contract that we signed, the only way you're going to know about what you signed and what you signed it for is locked up in your infinite, pure, eternal self. And the contract was this: at such a time, God told me when we got into this thing that I was sleeping with him inside of you every night. And I turn around and look. I said, "You there?" "Yes, yes, yes." You are the there-ness, alreadiness, and here-ness, no distantness, God identity. Look out, because the awakening of this brings about supernatural manifestations. You hadn't gone far enough until you see it. It's not something, don't need it. Yes, I would love to be able to do this, go there and acknowledge this without having to go to the doctor. But here's what I found out going to the doctor. When I see them, my contracts come up in me and I must look at them. Don't do as much as I used to, but I used to say it. "Do you know, Doc, I met you in heaven before coming here, and I saw you taking all your medical training in heaven before coming to earth."
Mm-hmm.
I say that. I talk to people in the grocery store. I looked at this lady she was bent on a grocery cart, and I went to her and I said, "Ma'am, I can see Christ in your heart." She smiled and she said, "I hope so." Sweetheart, there's a place. Oh, I'm gonna read it to you, but I'm gonna let it go. Do you know that there are many of us who have Christ in us as us in the church? They call it receive the Holy Ghost. They'll say, "God is in me," all day long when there's a reason for it to be said, and they have to say it over and over again. It makes me wonder: are they really convinced that He's there? They say, "Well, I got the word, and He's coming soon." And I said, "Well, He's still. It's God, universe, and out of verse. It's time for us to run out of verses." And listen. We are imprisoned by God.
Imprisoned by God?
Yeah, He is our prisoner. Paul said we are a prisoner of the Lord,
Of the
Jesus,
Lord
Christ.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I go to church to get something from God through the music? I'm not condemning it. I'm just using an example now. I heard somebody say in that revival that's going on in Kentucky, they said, "I came here." The Lord told him that he was supposed to be in the ministry. So when he got there, he walked up to this man, and this man told him the same thing God told him. But he didn't believe what God told him without the man coming to him. So that's some people we have to do like that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I want all of us to come to the place where we don't have to use anything to find out what is already here.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. You got some word coming across.
No, it's just about time for us to quit.
Oh, that okay.
Mm-hmm. It's
Okay.
time
I
for
didn't
us
mean
to quit.
okay. Now, sweetheart, we're gonna talk some more about this, because if you find out in your car that you found your keys and you said for a week you couldn't drive your car and you lost them, and one day you're searching for them and you find it up under the seat. Now, somewhere in the lost and found department, you lost God, and now you done found Him. If you done found Him, why do you keep bringing the keys back and acting like they hid when you just found out where they were?
Right. Right.
We're gonna stop there, and we'll take up on this some more as we go.
Want to thank you guys for giving and for tuning in to us this morning, and we'll see you again on Tuesday night at 7. Hopefully you'll be able to join us then, and thank you for your giving and your
Thank you
support
so much.
of this ministry, and thank you for your cash apps that you've sent to Pastor and myself. And of course, if you need to do that, you can always send that to $A Sawyer C for Pastor and myself, or paypal.me/ACE Sawyer 72. If you want to give directly to Cornerstone, then I want you to do it by texting CLC Greensboro to 73256, or you can go to the website and simply hit the donate button, which is really easy. That's the way I do it. Or you can go to paypal.me/cornerstone35, or you can mail it in to P.O. Box 36259, Greensboro, North Carolina, 27416. And that will be it. That'll be the way you do it. And so, what are you doing?
I got to play with my puppy. She wants attention. I had to give a little attention.
Hey, Linda Langdon, you're here on Sunday morning. Thank you, darling. Thank you, Sinette. Listen, baby. Listen. Sinette says we do not need to find God. We just need to allow God to step forward in us. Yes, sweetheart. Yes. We're going to end on that note, and that's a wonderful thing, wonderful way to see it. We don't need to find God. We just need to allow God to step forward in us. We'll see you again on Tuesday night. Bye, guys.
Be safe.